been saying for a while now that the first Cybertrucks are going to be very expensive, or probably fairly compromised in order to qualify for that federal tax credit, like starting with the dual motor 300-mile range variant, and we're not going to see the 500-mile range variant until way off into the future. But seeing the GigaPress actually be installed at Giga Texas is giving me a lot of hope for the future. Like, they're not installing a bunch of equipment and doing all of this production tooling for no reason. In my opinion, that makes it a lot harder to just say, oh, it's all vaporware, it'll never come out, it's gonna be scrapped, when they literally have machinery that is specifically designed to build one thing being moved into the factory as we speak. It's just a matter of time. So I still have hope, but it definitely got me thinking about the size of the factory that's designated just to Cybertruck production and how it's kind of a bit smaller than the Model Y assembly line. And sure, that may be partially thanks to the no paint the Cybertruck has to worry about, but it got me thinking about Elon's comments made back at Battery Day, which was in 2020. Sounds weird, but that was 3 years ago now. Sheesh. And he said essentially they had so many Cybertruck reservations they're not even counting anymore, and they expect to eventually. How long it takes them to get there is a different discussion, but one day build 200,000 to 250,000 Cybertrucks a year. That's going to require a crap ton of batteries, especially if you're one of those people that believe lots of Cybertrucks are going to have over 500 miles of range. So don't expect the Cybertruck to ramp as quickly as the Model 3 or Y did, because those are just inherently far simpler vehicles, whereas Cybertruck, rear wheel steering, air suspension, brand new interior, brand new exterior. This exoskeleton has never been ramped before, so sure, they get to cut some corners by not having paint to worry about, but it absolutely is going to ramp, in my opinion, a lot more like a Model S or X vehicle, simply due to the size and the monstrous battery pack that each vehicle is going to require. Even the 300-mile range variant is going to need a bigger battery pack than what the Model S and X are currently offering. So once they are fully ramped at Giga Texas, I'm very curious to how many trucks they can actually build there, and more importantly, are there enough buyers to justify 200,000 to 250,000 vehicles a year? I thought it was an interesting question to pull the internet on, because it's very rare to see this many people split down the middle on a product. Like, on one hand, you have people saying never, the Cybertruck's never going to come out, or they're barely going to be able to build 100,000 a year, and even if they were able to build that many, they would struggle to find buyers for them because the Cybertruck's just such a weird, bizarre looking vehicle. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, you have more of the Tesla bulls that are saying, well, if Ford can sell well over 600,000 F-Series pickup trucks every year, then Cybertruck should easily be able to go well over 600,000, maybe over 1 million vehicles a year. That's even more mind-boggling in my head to imagine that many Cybertrucks coming out of the factory. So physically, if they can only with that square footage build 500,000 Model Ys a year, and the Cybertruck is kind of designated its own little quadrant in the corner, I have a hard time believing they can get to 200,000 Cybertrucks a year within that facility, which means that the wait until Cybertruck is fully ramped could be well later into the decade, maybe into 2030s, because it may require an entirely new factory, or maybe they plan on building more Cybertrucks at Giga Mexico like Ford does, who knows. But the reason I bring this up in today's video is that I've always said price is dictated by demand and supply, and I think that demand for pickup trucks, especially in the United States, is insanely high. A lot of people can't really grasp that the Ford series, Ram series, and Chevy Silverado series, they account for like the top 2 or top 3 most popular vehicles in the United States. So the Cybertruck, while different and unique and weird, is actually most likely in the US market to become the best seller, because it's catering towards a segment of vehicle that is statistically known for doing very, very well here. And if Tesla is boxed in with Giga Texas capacity, and they can only build, maybe at fully ramped, 150 to 200,000 trucks per year, which is based on Elon's comments, then that kind of narrows the market down a bit more, which means Tesla doesn't need to have a lineup of Cybertrucks that can match the demand of the Ford F-Series or the Silverado or the Ram trucks, because they simply wouldn't have enough pickup trucks for everybody. And it's easy to segment out different portions of the market. Like, yeah, there's a ton of pickup truck buyers that are not ready to go electric yet, so that's why, again, I'm not referring to the next couple years of buying habits. I'm referring to the long term, like over the next 10 to 20 years, as electric pickup trucks start to become more and more mainstream, F-150 Lightning continues to ramp, Rivian continues to ramp, and as there's more DC fast charging stations to go off of in the future, I think there will be an increasing number of pickup truck buyers that are willing to go electric once they realize because cost savings involved the instant torque and the convenience of being able to have a giant battery pack in the work field with you and being able to charge from home instead of having to wait in line at a Costco gas station like so many of you do. But the most interesting perspective that I think Tesla was very wise with when they designed the Cybertruck, that still is very easy to forget in these early stages when it hasn't quite delivered yet, is Tesla, better than anybody, gets how to simplify and break down a vehicle to its core essentials. That way they can ramp it cheaper than anybody else. So, while I still think for the first few years of production, there's not going to be that many Cybertrucks available, which means that Tesla can basically charge whatever they want for them, because if 90% of the reservations cancel, who cares? We can still sell every truck we make. But once Tesla does ramp the Cybertruck up to the 100,000 mark and they start trying to deliver at the same volume of the legacy automaker pickup trucks, I honestly think they're going to start to be able to undercut them a bit, because unlike Ford and unlike Rivian, they're going to have one paint option, which is none, for all Cybertrucks, as well as having structural battery packs, which reduces the complexity of manufacturing. Obviously, huge underbody castings, which we know the Gigapress is going to be used for, and the interior, of course, with Tesla's vehicles is known for being bare bones minimal, which won't be for everybody, but Tesla knows there's lots of different ways to design a vehicle, and depending on how you design a vehicle, you can make it different from the competitors, and some people will find your approach better, and some people will find it worse. That's all subjective design choices, but pricing is a lot more objective, and if Tesla gets to the point where they match Cybertruck demand and they want to start undercutting everybody else, they are in a better position to do it than anyone, because not only does the Cybertruck have the advantage of being extremely durable compared to every other pickup truck, but by having that rigid exoskeleton, they don't have a paint shop to worry about like all the other guys, and by having a bare bones interior, and I'm sure reusing the inverters that they use on the Model S, X3, and Y, check out Sandy Monroe's videos about how simple Tesla makes their powertrain manufacturing. But they've also designed, yes, a very bizarre looking vehicle, but still a more aerodynamic design than any of the other guys, which means they can use a smaller battery pack and achieve the same range, or they can use the same size battery pack and have better range than all the other guys. Plus, Tesla, I think, is still for the long haul going to have the advantage of supercharging. Yes, even when Tesla opens up superchargers to non-Teslas in the future, I still think it's going to be like it is in Europe, only at select locations. So only V4 superchargers maybe will have CCS, but the Cybertruck will be able to charge at every single supercharger, and the software and the battery preconditioning will probably still beat out everybody else, not to mention the autonomy features that Tesla offers. Being able to drive on the highway, and maybe in the future not require your hands to be on the yoke, whereas F-150 Lightning and even Rivian are relying a lot more on pre-mapped highways, which means that you can't necessarily activate the hands-free feature everywhere you go. So by designing a vehicle that is super bare bones basic and also super aerodynamic, plus Tesla is the only one out of all of these electric pickup truck makers that is actually manufacturing their own battery cells, this means that while the Cybertruck in its first few years of production probably won't be the cheapest electric pickup truck on the market, but I do think it will be the cheapest to build out of any of these. Basically, it will be the most profitable electric pickup truck, and because Tesla has so many other revenue streams with the Model Y ramp and they're making more money per vehicle than any other automaker, they probably would be in a position, if they do have a Cybertruck demand problem in the future, to undercut everybody because of their simple design and their aerodynamic efficiency and their in-house cell design with the structural battery pack and single piece castings. Rivian's not going to have that, Silverado's not going to have that, Ford's not going to have that, which does mean, in my opinion, yes, that in the electric pickup truck wars in the future, Tesla can probably undercut just about everybody with this design. I would love to hear your guys' ideas on how exactly you could design an electric truck that requires no paint, that still has a structural battery pack, that uses in-house built cells which are cheaper than everybody else, and someone that's going to design an interior and an HVAC system that's as simple and easy to manufacture as Tesla's without basically ripping off the Cybertruck design. Ford is just relying on extreme scale from their existing F-150s, but ultimately they're still going to require a massive battery pack that they're going to pay big bucks for, because that F-150 Lightning, as classic and traditional of a design as it is, it's not that aerodynamic, and that means that it's not that efficient. So Tesla could beat out everyone else on range, undercut everybody else on price, and that's when I think people will start to fall more and more in love with the design, whereas right now, yeah, it's just too weird, and no one's seen anything like it before, so a lot of people, especially pickup truck buyers, will just write it off as, oh, yo, no, that's Tesla's crazy vaporware. But if Tesla Tesla starts building them by the hundreds of thousands and you start seeing them everywhere, you know, for the first few years, it'll still be a sight to behold. You know, it'll be like CGI in real life. People will be taking videos. Oh, I saw a Cybertruck the other day. We know how this goes. This is how it was for the Model 3 and then the Model Y. First few years of being out on the market, it's like shell shock and everyone's excited to see it when it comes out. But imagine like 5 to 10 years after the Cybertruck has come out, people are used to seeing them everywhere, and if it really does become the cheapest pickup truck to own, and it has a bigger bed than the other guys, and it has a more durable exterior, and it can drive itself better than any other truck, and it's got the better charging network, it's gonna have the faster charging speeds, and the lower price, yeah, that design, I think people will start to fall in love with it slowly, and if Ford does try to stay cost competitive with it, they're probably gonna be losing money on it. So how sustainable is that practice really gonna be for them? So ultimately, I do agree that around 200,000 a year sounds right to me, but if Tesla is ever suffering a demand problem, they could always pull the lever on a lithium iron phosphate version of the Cybertruck and maybe start hitting the $50,000 or less price point, and I think they're better positioned to do it than anybody because they know how to scale products, even if that means taking out things that a lot of consumers want. But here we are, Tesla still not really having a demand problem by any means. So what do you guys think? What's the max capacity of Cybertrucks in the future? Do you think they'll ever build over 1 million Cybertrucks per year, or is Ford and Rivian going to come up with more radical designs that can achieve the Cybertruck's amazing efficiency numbers? All that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody on Patreon supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos, and thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.